It started with two strangers and a clipboard and ended with handcuffs, a courtroom, and one very loaded Desert Eagle. Now I'm not the kind of guy who looks for trouble. I live alone on a quiet stretch of land just outside Marlow Creek, Texas. Me and my German Shepherd Duke. I work nights at the local freight yard, sleep light, keep to myself, drink my coffee black, build things with my hands, and follow the law. That's it. That's me. I never signed up for a homeowners association, not on paper, not in spirit, not in theory. My land is outside any official HOA boundaries. I made sure of it before I bought the property, checked county lines, zoning records, parcel maps, every last detail. So imagine my surprise when two men I'd never seen before strutted up my driveway like they were God's gift to suburban regulation. It was a Wednesday, cloudy, stale. One of those days too far from the weekend to feel good and too close to Monday to feel new. I was sipping cold coffee on the porch, watching Duke chase his tail like it owed him money, when they appeared walking in perfect sync, with smug expressions that made it clear they thought they owned the place. One had a thick, greasy mustache that made him look like a cartoon sheriff. The other had a Bluetooth headset stuck to his head like a badge of honor from 2007, and a gut that screamed buffet champion. They wore faded polos and saggy cargo shorts, like they got dressed in the clearance bin at a hardware store. Mustache opened a leather-bound notebook like it held nuclear codes and said, "Sir, you're in violation of new HOA regulations," with the kind of drama you'd expect in a courtroom TV show. I blinked, looked over the rim of my mug, and said flatly, "That's funny. I didn't join an HOA." The other guy, Beer Belly, shook his head like I denied gravity. "Actually, sir," he said, puffing up, "we enacted new bylaws. They apply to the entire neighborhood now." "Nope," I replied, cutting him off. Didn't get that memo. Mustache leaned in, voice smug. "It's your responsibility to stay informed." I exhaled slowly, already tired of the game. "What violation?" I asked. "The fence," Beer Belly said. "It's too tall." I looked at my fence, sturdy, level, painted last month, built with my own hands to exact county code, using a laser level still sitting in my garage. Too tall for who? I asked. "For community standards," Mustache replied with a smirk that made my jaw tighten. I rubbed my temples. "That fence is too county code. You two don't get to change that." "County code doesn't matter anymore," Mustache shot back. "The HOA supersedes it." And that's when it clicked. These guys weren't from an HOA. They were the HOA, made it up themselves, printed fake forms, and decided to play sheriff in a neighborhood that never asked for one. I let the silence drag, then smiled slowly and said what I should have said right off. "You're full of crap." They stormed off, muttering threats about fines and consequences. I figured that was the end of it. I was wrong. A week later, I got home from work, parked my truck, and found a bright red notice taped to my Duran eviction notice. 72 hours to comply or vacate. Fake seal, fake case number. Signatures that looked like a bored kid scribbled them during math class. I just stood there, reading it, trying to wrap my head around the stupidity of it. Then I laughed. Not just a Chucala-deep full-belly laugh. They'd really tried to evict me from my own home, on my own land, with nothing but printer paper and pure nerve. Still laughing, I crossed the street and knocked on Mustache's door like I had war news. His wife answered, tired eyes like she'd lived this nonsense 100 times. "Your husband home?" I asked. He showed up, same smug look, same phony confidence. "Your fence is non-compliant," he declared. "The HOA will pursue legal action." "Which HOA?" I asked. "The one you invented." Beer Belly appeared behind him. "You should be grateful," he said. "We're preserving property values." I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "If either of you touches that fence again, you're going to meet the Second Amendment." They froze. "Is that a threat?" Mustache asked, his lips suddenly dry. "No," I said. "It's a promise." Then came the night. I was upstairs sleeping when Duke growled low. I sat up, checked the monitor motion detected. 2 figures at the fence. One with a crowbar, one with bolt cutters. No panic, no yelling. I just grabbed my Desert Eagle from the nightstand, turned on the porch light, and stepped outside. Gun down, but visible. They froze like raccoons in a spotlight. Mustache dropped the crowbar. Beer belly stiffened like a statue. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Asked, calm and clear. They stuttered, fumbled excuses. I cut them off. "You're trespassing. You're attempting property damage. And unless you've got a key to my front door, you're about to commit breaking and entering." I pulled out my phone, dialed 911, and never took my eyes off them. Yes, I told the dispatcher, "I've got 2 uninvited guests on my land. They're holding tools, I'm armed. They're compliant." For now, 10 minutes later, the sheriff arrived. The deputy recognized them immediately. "You 2 again." "Fuck," he said, like he was breaking up a schoolyard scuffle. Turned out these clowns had been running the same HOA scam across the area, harassing seniors, finding single moms, threatening people with fake rules. But this time, they'd crossed the wrong line. They were arrested on the spot trespassing, attempted vandalism, impersonating officials. 2 weeks later, I was in court watching them squirm in cheap suits while the judge, a fire-eyed woman with no tolerance for nonsense, listed their crimes one by one. "You forged legal documents. You impersonated authority. You attempted to evict a man from land you had no legal standing over." Their lawyer tried to claim good intentions. The judge wasn't having it. "You didn't protect your neighborhood," she snapped. "You terrorized it." They didn't get jail time, but they got the full hammer-heavy fines, restraining orders, community service, and worst of all for them, forced to sell their homes to pay restitution. Turns out they'd pulled similar stunts in 2 other towns. As I left the courthouse, Duke trotting beside me, I spotted Beer Belly leaning against a brick wall, hollow-eyed and defeated. "We just wanted a nice neighborhood," he muttered. I stopped, looked him in the eye, and said, "You should have tried knocking first." Then I walked home, past my still-standing fence, still to code, still mine. And now I've got to ask, what would you have done? If 2 strangers made up rules to control your land, would you stand up? Would you call their bluff, or wait until it was too late? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to share this, because sometimes the only way to stop fake authority is to be very, very real.